Hello, everybody. And how many blue jelly shrimp do you think is in this mess of a tank? Take a look at that. I have no idea. But by the end of this video, we're going to have a pretty good idea of just how many blue jellies are in here. So normally on these 20-gallon longs, I used to have 20-watt lights. And you can see it's 4-foot shop light wedged in there, the best it can over 20-gallon long. It's diagonal. But anyway, 40-watt light instead of a 20-watt light makes moss in this tank, makes moss grow a lot, makes algae grow a lot, and for whatever reason, duckweed decided it likes to live here too. And let me tell you, there's not many more things I hate more than duckweed. This tank above, I did the same thing with the light, and it grew this green spot thick algae, and because I can't fit my hand all the way down to the bottom of the tank, that's what we're dealing with here. But the moss is growing good, and I think duckweed likes this tank too. And then up here we have the exact same light, the exact same size tank, wedged in there the exact same way. And look at this, not a speck of algae. I don't think there's a single leaf of duckweed in here. I don't see any algae, and the shrimp are doing awesome. So that goes to show you just how difficult it can be to get these tanks situated and balanced out. No one has all perfect tanks. So we're still trying to find a balance, and I guess this is the example we go by. So when I tackle projects like this, the first thing I do is do the best job I possibly can getting rid of the duckweed. And I have a special tool I use for that. This is the tip of my wet dry shop vac. And I want to show you guys how to do this. Now if you're very, very careful, you're not going to get any shrimp, but you got to be careful. So what we're going to do here is see how everything over here close to the light, we got algae and moss and all that good stuff growing up to the top of the water, and that's where the duckweed ends up settling. So we're going to end up pushing as much of this duckweed to open water that we can, and be very careful not to get any blue jelly shrimp that might be on the duckweed. But I've done this a lot. I mean, I've done it a whole lot of times, like hundreds and hundreds of times. And the shrimp get out of the way when they feel the duckweed. When they get close, and I'm watching, so I avoid sucking them up, obviously. But they do a pretty good job of getting the heck out of the way, for the most part. But you still got to use a lot of caution. So first, we're going to try to nudge this duckweed. Now, a lot of this duckweed has ended up attaching itself to the moss. And a lot of that, I have a bucket behind me with moss tangled up with duckweed. I usually just throw out because I'm not trying to spread the curse of duckweed to people. Do my very best to keep it at a minimum. Well, I forgot to hit record with the shop vac, but you can see we got most of it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. There's a lot of shrimp gathering up there at the top. So we'll see how many are in here before too much longer. I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do is pull out all moss with any bit of duckweed or algae in it, and be very, very careful not to get our shrimp. So we got to shake all the shrimp off and pull the moss. Alright, so algae wasn't a huge issue. I think everything that's left is 99% clean moss. Making some more shrimp. Seeing some more shrimp appearances. You can see the filter. I haven't been able to see the filter in this tank in a while. There's a few pieces of duckweed. Oh my god, I hate it so much. But we're getting there. Alright, so now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull out every single bit of moss in here. And then we will know just how many blue jelly shrimp are in this tank. First thing I'm gonna do is put some water in the bucket to hold the moss for now, because it's almost a guarantee, is no matter how careful I am, I will catch some baby shrimp. This isn't a hard tank reset. This is more like a moss reset. The tank is overgrown with moss. We're going to harvest this moss. And we get all the moss out of the way. And there's already a shrimp in here. Let's get at it. So as you can see, this is a pretty boring, painstaking process. I am just picking out one little tiny clump of moss at a time, swishing it around in the tank water, doing my very, very best to get all the shrimp off the moss, because we want the shrimp to stay in the tank. We want we want all this moss to come out of the tank. And from the looks of it, as I go further and further into it, there's not as many shrimp in there as I'd hoped for, but there still is a decent amount in there. And I did oversell this tank a little bit a few months back, so I just kind of left the tits on to overgrow and see what happens, and we're still waiting on it to repopulate. With that crazy light, the moss grew faster than the shrimp. Usually this process happens at the same time when the moss needs cleared out. I clear out all the shrimp, but not the new crazy bright light. The moss is growing faster than the shrimp are repopulating. That's alright, we'll just make a whole bunch more shrimp. And here we are 2 or 3 hours after letting it settle down. And there's still lots of shrimp in here. For one, they're not going crazy for the algae wafer like they usually do. There's still lots in here. There's lots of little babies, but I gotta admit, there's a little less in here than I was hoping for. But there's still shrimp all throughout the whole tank. It's more than just that pile, but there's some buried ones, there's some little baby ones. I was pulling apart that moss, I seen a few dead shrimp bodies, so something might be up with this tank. I want to give it a little more time. I'm going to put some moss in here, give it another month and see what happens, because I don't want to go ripping apart tanks. I always try to do the least amount of destruction or interfering. I always try to do the least amount of that as possible, but these guys are looking good. The shrimp look good. There's a big buried female, a couple of them I saw over here. I don't know if that's showing up. So I think we're on the rebound. I did sell this tank really low, I think I said earlier. So it's in the waiting to bounce back stage, and I think it's doing all right. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put all the moss into the moss pond. We gotta put some moss back in here. We gotta reseed the moss. So let's get working on that. So this is my new moss pond, and whenever I work on my tanks like we just did, I take all the moss out and put it in here. And this is the moss. If you buy moss, Pilo moss on markshelleyproducts.com, this is the tank it comes from. So what I do here, we got to make sure, because remember how careful we was, and I said you're probably still going to end up getting some shrimp in this moss. Now I hope not. And I'm rinsing it off in the bucket, but spreading it out and put it in thin spots. All the moss is in the pond. Look at how green and nice that looks. I'm super excited about these guppies that are in here. And even though the cats have taken a few tastes, my Photonia plants in my new filter are growing. Looks like they're going to survive and do good. I'm excited about that. All right, let's take a final look at that tank we've been working on. All right, here we are. This is what we ended up with. Nothing too crazy, but we've got lots of shrimp, and a lot of the shrimp, they're not showing up on the video, but There's tons of little ones. When I was moving the moss around in the tank, there's a lot of them in there. Every time you move it a little bit, you see a bunch of little shrimpies scattering around. They're already back in their favorite place, the moss. So that's good. Everyone's making themselves back at home. First video of 2023. Wanted to get a video up for you guys, but I've been busy with some technical issues with the website and doing year-end paperwork stuff for my books. So this is what I had to get this tank done. I wanted to get it done in time to make a video about it. And so here we are. One of my blue jelly 20-gallon longs reset. Well, not really reset, but shrimp look good. I didn't see any bad shrimp right off the get-go. Taking a close look at them. Everything looks good. There's babies. There's a couple buried females. Things are slow. Sometimes it does slow down in the winter. I mean, we did just get really cold. Now it's almost 80 degrees in here because it's like 64 degrees outside. And I'm not turning the air conditioner on. And with all these tanks and the dehumidifier running, it gets in the 60s. It gets 80 in my house. So, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it as always. Bye.